Hello, drawing class. Today we're going to talk about the materials you obtained during art material pickup, which includes your drawing pad or sketchbook, as well as your materials, which include 7 different pencils, your sharpener, and your eraser. Now you might be wondering why you have so many different pencils. This includes H pencils and B pencils. HB is the pencil that is right down the middle, and that is your typical number 2 yellow pencil and your mechanical pencil. So this is kind of what I highly suggest that you start every drawing with and focus on when not wanting something too dark or too light. With HB, both of those letters included within the pencil itself, then you have a series of B pencils. So you have 4 B pencils. The higher the number of the pencil, the darker the lead is when it is pressed onto the paper, which in turn means the lead is softer. So you have your B pencil, which is 1 step darker than your H pencil. Then you have your 2B pencil. Next you have your 4B pencil, and then your 6B pencil is once again going to be your darkest pencil, soft lead, and then that lead easily applies onto the paper itself to make it the darkest. So you see how they progressively go up in number. The higher the number, the darker. And then you have the exact same opposite in reverse with your H pencils. I provided you with 2 H pencils, so you have your HB once again right down the middle, half hard lead, half soft lead, to have a nice gray application. Then you have your H pencil, which is 1 step after HB, which now the lead is harder, so then the application on your paper is lighter. And then finally you have your 2H pencil, which is going to be your hardest lead, which then also means it is your lightest pencil. Now we're going to understand how to apply all of those pencils onto your paper by making a few value scales, and we're going to also experiment with different mark making techniques. That will include hatching, cross hatching, and the most popular from what you guys have learned throughout the younger years of your artistic careers is most likely going to be blending. Okay, so here would be an up close of what a blending value scale would look like. Here we are right in the middle with our HB. Once again, that is your gray pencil, very similar to the yellow number 2 pencil. Then you progressively work your way down towards a darker value, which means your B pencils, starting with B, then 2B, 4B, and once again the darkest of all of them with the highest number would be 6B. And then you're going to flip that and go reverse and understand that H is the next lightest pencil after HB. Then you have your 2H, and finally you would end with white on the top to show white to black or light to dark within your value scale. Alright, so on page 1 of your lovely sketchbook that has been provided to you, you are going to create these value scales using the different mark making techniques. Now I know we might all not have a ruler, so we're going to give it our best effort to recreate something that looks exactly like this on our paper. Okay, it's about adequate size. You can find this reference on the Drawing One curriculum website as well. Go ahead and get your pencil sharpener out and your eraser from your bag, as I highly suggest you always use a very sharp pencil, especially with hatching and cross hatching. So on that, I'll leave this off to the side so you can watch and reference while I do it on here. I would like for you to start somewhere in the middle of the paper with your HB pencil to understand the middle value. Okay, so with your HB pencil, you're going to start somewhere in the middle where you think you can get enough boxes below, which include 4 different values. Values meaning the darkness or lightness. B, 2B, 4B, and 6B below your HB, and then above your HB you're going to have H and 2H, and then progressively a white box as well, but you can probably omit the white box since we're not using a ruler. If you do use a ruler and create boxes, then you can add the white to it, but the white is your paper. So we're going to start very similar to this one here with hatching. Hatching is the technique where you make a mark at a certain angle. That could be horizontal, vertical, diagonal, whatever you find most comfortable. For this, I'm going to use diagonal lines. every time you make a mark with hatching, you need to lift your pencil off the paper. So no scribbling. If I were to just scribble and never lift my pencil off the paper, that would be scribbling. But we really want to focus on the idea of hatching. Hatching is always good when thinking about animals and their fur, or other things that include very specific lines throughout the image. Okay, so notice how I have lifted my pencil after every mark there to create that idea of hatching. I'm not pressing hard with my pencil, I'm letting the pencil do the work. That is the reason why there are some leads that are softer and some that are harder. You're letting the pencil do the work. I'm not pressing harder to make it look darker, I'm just allowing the pencil to meet the paper, and with the hatching method, lifting my pencil every time I make a mark. So I've accomplished my HB value on my value scale for hatching. If you want to work down or you want to work up, that's all up to you, but you need to also understand that you don't want your hand to ever get into the lead itself, because then that would smear it, and then the hatching would start to look like blending because it would be blending into the paper. So work left to right, I would suggest, if you are right-handed, and right to left if you are left-handed. So below HB, to go darker, would be our B pencil. Once again, I'm allowing the pencil to do the job, lifting my pencil every time I make a mark, and now it's starting to become darker due to the fact that the lead is softer. And I'm going to still kind of recreate that idea of a rectangle with my hatching, rotating my pencil to get the point every time and making a bunch of marks. Now we can already see how that is becoming progressively darker. Next would be your 2B pencil, then your 4B pencil, and finally ending with the dark, your 6B pencil. Okay, and then if you work your way in reverse, then you have your H, which once again is a harder lead, therefore it will make a lighter mark, and your 2H, which will be the lightest. Okay, now I want you to fill all of your boxes and such as they are in this example here. I'm kind of zipping through this just for time constraints and allowing you guys to have more work time. Then you're going to transition to your next box. So once again, this was hatching. Next we have in the middle section, we're going to do cross hatching. So in the same row, in a new column, you're going to do cross hatching. Cross hatching is the exact same thing as hatching. The only difference is you are crossing those hatch marks between each other. So I'm going to start the same method of hatching, then I'm just going to come back the other way and develop cross hatching, like so. Okay? You can see how on hatching they're all going in one way, and then cross hatching you're making kind of a bunch of X's if you're going in a diagonal kind of format. Okay, and you would progressively work your way down with darker all the way to your 6B pencil for cross hatching. Once again, I'm gonna zip through this just so you have more work time. I think you're starting to get the gist of how it's done. Once again, there's a time and place for cross hatching as well within your drawings, and that'll be very specific to what you are specifically drawing. But once again, just like hatching, you're lifting your pencil off the paper every single time you make a mark. We don't want to scribble. That is not the method we are trying to achieve right now. So then the middle is cross hatching. And finally we have blending, which all of you should be pretty familiar with as it is most utilized. When you use blending, I like to put the butt of the pencil or the end of the pencil in the inside of my palm, and then use my index finger kind of as a pressure point. Okay, so if I press harder, it could go harder onto the page versus lighter. But once again, we're letting the pencil do the work, so I'm just going to come in and use a blending method using the side of my pencil, differently from hatching and cross hatching where we use the tip of our pencil. With blending, you just want a nice, even, smooth application all the way throughout. And have a nice, flat surface area. Okay? Working your way down with B, 2B, 4B, and 6B. Once again, I'll just go ahead and throw the darkest value on there. Once again, I'm applying the same pressure as I was with the HB, but since this is a softer lead, it's applied onto the paper more easily for a darker value. versus your 2H pencil, which will make a very light form of blending. Okay, so there you will create something relatively similar to this on this entire page here within your sketchbook. Once you have that complete, you are going to use the blending method to understand how to develop a sphere out of a circle. A circle, once again, remember your elements of art, a circle is a flat shape, but when you add highlights and values to your circle, that develops it into a form, which is a three-dimensional object. So you can find this sheet here on the curriculum website as well, and we can review that. But what you want to do is go around your house and try and find an item that has a circular kind of base to it. That could be your water jug, you could be a cup, it could be a coffee mug if you got that. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw my coffee mug on page 2 using my HB pencil. Remember, we always want to start with our HB pencil as it's not too light and not too dark. And then you're just going to go around and circle the base of whatever object you use that is a perfect circle. Do not press hard. We do not want to create a hard outline, as outlines flatten images. Okay. Come in. Made a little mistake. Use my eraser to fix that. Then you are going to use the blending method to create a three-dimensional sphere. Okay, so you're going to understand where your light source is coming from. If you want to create a horizon line where the sky meets the ground, you may do that. So I'm going to say my light source is coming from this direction. You do not have to draw an arrow. So that's going to be opposite of what this example is, so I can show you both, but the shadow will be on the other side of the light source. So I'm going to come in and blend where my shadow is going to be, right up against the edge of this object. Shadows are always darker closer to the object. Okay, so if I'm going to go darker, I should use my 6B pencil right up against the base of the sphere to create that nice dark value to really enhance the idea of three-dimensionality and form on a two-dimensional surface, which is your paper. And I can continue to develop that. Some of these instructions are also going to be listed on the curriculum website, and I will direct you where to find that. And then you're going to understand your light source is coming here. It's going to create a round shadow, so all your values should be nicely blended together. So I'm going to come in and understand that the light source is coming here. There's going to be a highlight right here. I'm going to push my values on the back side of my sphere in a round kind of format. Once again, I'm blending. If you do want to use a different method, that's fine by me. If hatching or cross-hatching, you prefer that, more power to you, and go for that. But I just figure we could start with blending since we all probably know it the best. I'm going to start to develop that round. I'm making kind of like a moon shape or a C shape to flow around where that highlight is going to be located. And then right now I'm using a 2B pencil to develop that darkness. And then I can come in with my 4B pencil on the opposite side of where my highlight's located to develop that more darkness. 6B pencil to even push it further where the darkness is located, and then finally come back and end with a highlight on the back side because light bounces and reflects off the ground and creates a highlight on the back side. Once again, all these instructions are going to be listed within the curriculum website that you can reference, and I can continue to work on this to finish it up. I don't want to take too much of your time, but you can already start to see how that's creating that three-dimensional idea of an object on your paper. So once again, you're going to find an object that will give you a perfect circle for your paper, because we want a perfect sphere. And then you're going to develop the shadow underneath it. If you want to add a little bit of value on the ground plane, that's fine as well, to develop the idea of ground versus sky, or foreground versus background. And then you're going to come in and develop a nice, blended and smooth sphere, just like I have on the curriculum website, which I will show you where that is located when we meet. If you realize you ever go too dark with something, you can always come in with your eraser and blend that out a little bit, just kind of tapping on the paper to blend. If you are using the blending method, you can use your finger to smooth values out and blend those together. I went outside the line here, so I can go ahead and erase that. Once again, you can already start to see I would definitely develop my values darker, like you'll see on the curriculum website, as well as this example here. So right now I have the start of what I'm starting to understand, and then I'll continue to develop it further. Let's go ahead and give both that a try, the sphere with the found object, as well as the value scale with hatching, cross-hatching, and blending today, and we'll try and get that accomplished during your work time today, and then we'll continue to enhance these abilities and understandings of value and mark making, because that is the center of all drawings that you will do throughout this entire class. All right, good luck.